Blessed Day Reflection by Abia listeners. My name is Abia Grant, and we are here to reflect on our life journey. We will be discussing topics related to self awareness, self improvement, and mental health. Also, the purpose of this safe space is for us to be free to discuss the ups and downs, celebrate the wins, and talk about ways to improve the lows. So, welcome to this podcast, and I hope you gain something from this time we share together. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Reflection by Abia. I hope everyone is doing well and having a blessed day, guys. All goes well. We got a new intro to the podcast. We have a new intro to the podcast. Your girl is trying to put her big drawers on. That's what I call it. We're trying to adult out in here. And I just want to, really just take this podcast up to another notch. So I hope that all turns out well and you're actually hearing an intro. You're going to get an outro. You're going to get some clips in between the podcast. Just things that I typically forget to talk about in the podcast. I was like, no, we need to just change it up and grow. So, yeah, that is what we are doing. And I hope that you guys do, enjoy it and you're with me on this journey and everything. So guys, well, let's start. So this week has been a very I want to say lost week. Well, at least the beginning of the week. And guys, do let you know I got my window open. So if you hear the birds in the background, you're going to hear the birds. I don't know if you hear right now, they are chirping. You may hear a little bit of traffic as well too, but it's a beautiful day. It's going to be 60 something degrees today and I just wanted to have the window open. So you're gonna, get those background noises. Maybe you hear it and or maybe you don't. I don't know, but I know I do hear it and it's a beautiful sound. But I don't want to go on a tangent with that. I want to get into the podcast for today and just really my feelings this week. And I think that a lot of us as adults, we go through this feeling that I know I just repeated myself. Feeling that life is pretty much at a standstill. Feeling that all the things that we are trying to accomplish and achieve, with our journey, things is just slowly moving, or maybe not moving at all, or maybe not moving as fast as you want it to be, to the first one of slow moving. And I was just really in a space of this week of like feeling like, what am I doing? If you guys know, I work in the city. The city is a lot. I think people really don't take away, or if you're like living in the suburbs, you don't really understand what the city is like. It's sometimes very congested. People are not the nicest, and just the environment itself is just not conducive sometimes towards that feeling of you're trying to take it easy. So just that added on to my own, I could say, be honest with you, insecurities. I could also say that I was just in a place of feeling very, very much coasting, very much like, what am I doing with myself? So, with that being said, this topic this week is going to be adults are lost too. Guys, we are lost. And I maybe you don't feel like you're lost. Maybe you're like, I got this. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I am 40 years old and I'm still trying to figure myself out. and I'm still trying to figure out the purpose in my life. And I think I've heard people express this before. If you remember, maybe 2 months ago or so, I had went to a meetup, and I remember the lady, actually the one headlining the event was like she is trying to find her purpose in life. Like she is, pretty much at this place of wondering. And I feel like I'm there as well too, where I'm just kind of like, yeah, we are, there's things that I'm checking off of my list, but I just don't know. I just don't know what I am doing. Also in a way of thinking, am I doing enough? Also thinking, what do I need to make sure my mental stays intact? Because we've been working a lot on just mental health and thinking, if I was to even switch it up, like what would that do to me mentally, And it's just pretty much how I was feeling this week. Just very confused, very, very, very confused. And I jotted down a couple of things that, is kind of like the core. I feel like the core, there could be others, but what I feel like is the core of purpose in life. And I think a lot of things that we think about I have here is our job, is our family, our personal goals, and what we think about is our missed opportunities. Now, like I said, there are several others, experiences and other purposes that you may have, and definitely leave it in the comments because maybe somebody else needs to hear it. Maybe I need to hear it. Like this, podcast and what we discuss here is about sharing with others and just really showing that it's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to think in this way and for us to be able to help each other, because yeah, we're just it's just rough. It's very, very, very rough. And even for me, it's like things are going okay. It's not like things are not good. I mean, I have a job that it's a good job. I'm not stressed out or anything like that. My family is going well, even though, right now me and my husband kind of got this difference in schedules and trying to figure that out. And, things are changing in his space. Um, I could say what is the big culprit for me is my personal goals. That's the big culprit. And kind of, I don't want to say missed opportunities, but opportunities, well, missed opportunities in regards to the things that I'm not seeing, the things that I, hasn't registered as of yet, and I'm just oblivious to it, I guess you can say, and even looking for it. But then I have to take into consideration is like maybe it's not my time to look for that thing, because I'm a big believer like if it if it's meant for you to know, you will know, So yeah, that is I'm laughing right now, but it's like I gotta laugh through the loss. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have to laugh through the loss because I feel like if I don't laugh, it's just not I don't want to be upset, So I try to counteract my emotions with finding some joy. And this podcast is one of the things that brings me joy is expressing how I feel and getting the feedback from others that, yeah, this podcast or whatever you said really impacted me. It's very just refreshing and good feeling. So yeah. But guys, I forgot to say we're gonna start numbering these episodes, and I know we're already like 9 minutes in, so this is episode number 17. Again, our topic for this podcast is going to be Adults Are Lost Too. I was supposed to say that at the beginning of the episode, but totally forgot. but it's okay. We put it in there and now it's there and it'll be what it be. So, as I stated, is that basically for me, and maybe for yourself, you feel like your life is just pretty much coasting. And what I mean by coasting is feeling like, okay, things are again going decently, but there's really no up or down. It's just you're on a straight line, you know. And that just maybe for me, I feel like initially in the beginning of the week, that is how I was feeling. It's that coasting mentality. Now I also have here that you may be floating from thing to thing without actually succeeding at one particular thing. And I wrote this down more so for myself. I don't know if that is something that is a part of your journey, but I honestly feel that sometimes I'm not succeeding at things or not seeing that I'm succeeding at something, you know. And I don't know if necessarily I'm looking for validation. I think now that I think about it, yes, I'm looking for validation. And I'm looking for that validation in the sense of seeing things grow in my life, seeing more what I could say wins, whether it be me in a different place than where I was before, like having more impact, I guess you can say. You know, one of the big things for me is that I want to be able to retire. I talk about that before. So with that coasting is like also feeling like I'm still in the same financial bracket and I'm just meeting, I'm able to take care of now, but I'm also not able to retire and do the things that I want to enjoy because I have responsibilities and maybe the things that I'm putting my thoughts into and my goals into that they're not growing for me to be able to retire and do the things that I want to do. You know, where I was at in the beginning of the week is that I was criticizing myself. Also, I was focusing on everyone else's wins and feeling that, well, they're winning. Why is, so and so not seeing that I could be good at this as well, too? And I feel that going back to the criticism of myself is really not seeing the things that I am able to accomplish. Thinking again that I'm not doing enough. Thinking that, okay, I need to change more about me in order to fit. I don't know. I don't really think of mold, but in order to succeed, maybe if I was like this person, maybe if I thought this way, people will see something. And not even necessarily, I say people, but also at the same time, I feel like it is situations. More situations will come my way, positive situations will come my way if I was to do X, Y, and Z. And not really knowing what that X, Y, and Z is, but also realizing that again, whatever is coming to somebody else's forefront for them, whatever things that they're succeeding at, that is their win. And that I need to not be concerned about their win, you know. And this is something that I know I've spoken on before and something that has been a constant thing in my journey is trying to let go of that. And it's so hard because, you know, we're visual people and we see all the things that's going on around us. And even though in our mind is like, okay, we know that when our blessings come, they will come. It still sucks. That's the best way I could put it, is that it still sucks and you're having to figure it out. How to make yourself not feel like you're a loser, I guess you can say. And I'm not saying you're a loser. I'm speaking for myself. Now, if you call yourself that, then that's you, but that's what I call myself. Well, what I have called myself in the past. I try to not do that because I know that's not really pouring back into me. And that's not taking care of me, you know. So, yeah. So, like I said, stop focusing on everyone else's wins. Just really understanding that their blessing is their blessing, you know. And these are the things that I try to remind myself this week. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Reflection by Abia. Feel free to check out the podcast Instagram page and my personal page, simply.abia, also on Instagram. The links will be available in the show notes. So let's get back to the podcast. So now I jotted down here ways I'm working on rediscovering myself. And when I say rediscovering myself, because as I mentioned, is that we are lost. We are lost adults. And I think that we think I want to say every decade or every age. It really depends on the person. But I feel that we are lost often through life. I think that maybe when we're in our, you know, adolescent era, it's a little less lost because, we have our parents and things like that. So they're kind of giving us the direction to, navigate. They're making sure that we go to school, they're making sure we do our homework, they're making sure we clean our room, they're making sure that we eat, go to the doctors, and all the things. You have somebody who's telling you what to do, and you're just following suit. But as you start to get into your 20s, late teens, 18, all the way up, you are now an independent person and you don't know what the heck you're doing. I remember in my 18, I said when I was gonna say when I was 18 or at my 18s, but when I was 18, guys, that was a totally different, Abia. When I was in my 20s, that was a different Abia. My 30s, now my 40s, I have definitely, evolved as a human. And sometimes I wish that I had a book, and I think I spoke about this before. I wish there was a book on how to be an adult. Like, what do you do in these certain circumstances? You know, saying, okay, if you were to feel like this is what you need to do. Because there is so much going on. There's so much going on. And there's a lot of people who do not feel this way, but I think that you, it's important to, not saying it's okay to have these feelings, but I think it is necessary to evaluate where you are in life to see if there's things that you need to change. See if there's parts of you that you need to, grow on. Um, and I think that we reevaluate often, where we are. So, getting back into this part of the podcast on rediscovering myself, pretty much what I leaned on to this week was my tribe. I leaned on to people who know about my story. Um, and that was my mother and one of my good friends, my actual coworker who is a friend, and she is a blessing in disguise. Very, just really good person. And when talking to my mom, it was like with her, it was her more so letting me know that you can always change something. Like you can always evolve. You can always put pour into something that is going to be good for you. Don't allow for the naysayers in your head, because I feel like there's several of them in my head sometimes, doubt you from where you're able to go. And her just kind of pouring into me of try, if this is what you want to do, then try. And it was a really good conversation. It was a short conversation, but it was a good conversation. I did wind up speaking to her later on, but yeah. So then, as far as my friend, she gave me two ideas. One of them I'm going to share with you. And she said, celebrate myself by having a party and doing the whole cake and a confetti and a balloon and celebrating the things that I have accomplished so far. And at first I was like, when I had expressed this to my mom later on, I was like, this is dorky. you know could I, have a balloon for myself and all the rest of this stuff, like, but I think when I talked to her about it, and she even said it. My mom, she is 20 years older than me, so she's 60. When I told her about it, she was like, that is a good idea, because she's also going through her own life journey. She was like, I think I'm going to take that. I think that I am going to do that as well too. And it's the same way as when we take care of ourselves in our personal health, journey and our self-care journeys. Like we take ourselves out, get our, manicure and pedicure, or we take a day off and we relax, or we take ourselves out to eat. Oh, so I was like, I think this is something I am going to do. So just getting back, guys, I get on a tangent. So just getting back into my first bullet point is leaning on your tribe for guidance. I feel that that is a way that you could rediscover yourself. Kind of well, not kind of, pull yourself out of that feeling like you're lost in your life. I think that when we talk to our friends and family, they tell us, okay, you're doing this and this and this and this and that, and you're realizing, okay, um, wow, there's so many wins, and I think celebrating those wins that stops you or that eliminates you feeling lost, because then you start to focus on what you're able to accomplish. And it may be different for you, but that is what happened for me in my personal goals aspect. So also what I jotted down here is organizing. So with that, it's like, okay, I'm going to change up maybe how I do the podcast. So this is the reason why in the podcast you're going to get something different than what you've gotten before. You're going to pour more into the things that you enjoy, the things that make you not feel as confused in your journey. And this is something that I chose to do, is focusing and organizing how the podcast layout is. And I hope again that you guys do enjoy that. So then I have here the next bullet point, thinking where my personal goals will be 5 years from now. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be 5 years from now. This could be a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever amount of time frame. It could be a couple of months from now, wherever it may be. And when you take a step back and you really think about where you were, not in this said moment, you go back to maybe where you were 10 years ago and you say, wow, I'm completely have grown. These goals and things that I wanted to accomplish, oh shoot, I actually accomplished it. And I think that's one of the big things for like a vision board and so forth is that you are writing down the things that you're trying to accomplish. And then when you start checking them off, it's like, okay, great. And I feel like with that time span of the growth, you see that, okay, although maybe you didn't know that you will be able to accomplish whatever it is that, oh, shucks, I did, and then you start thinking about how did I get there? You know, you start thinking about who was helping me, whether that just means that they're listening to you, whether that means that they are giving you advice, whether that means, whatever it may mean. So, you really start to focus on those things. And, for me, it's like that is where I'm at. I'm trying to just focus on 5 years from now. It's likely going to be completely different than where I'm at now. And I have to know that wherever that 5 year point is, that it's going to be wins. Why? Because I'm doing all the necessary things now in order to win in the future. So again, I have to use that as a tool for when those moments that I'm feeling confused, for those moments that I am just lost, that I won't be lost forever. You know what I mean? And I know, guys, I'm relating this to me, but this podcast is very much can be your journey as well too. And I talk about it, I talk about me because it's just easier for me to give you the truth. But you know what? Maybe the truth, but it's easy for me to express to you guys where I don't want to say where I'm at, and I apologize if I'm getting a little bit discombobulated, but it's just easier for me to show my life rather than expressing something that or sharing something that I really don't know much about, or somebody else's journey that I really don't know much about, because I'm not on their journey. I'm on my own journey. So I talk to you guys a lot about me, and but hoping that me talking about me is maybe if somebody is like me or thinks like me, that they can know that they're not the only one, and maybe something that I'm saying is going to help them on their own journey. Right? That's the point. That's the point of these discussions, guys. That's the point of these discussions. So, one of the last things I wrote down here is journal. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is something that I am not good at, but I think that this will be good tool for me because I'm able to go back and read something that I felt. on the experience that has happened to me. And I can say that sometimes I forget. I forget about where I was. And I think journaling will help. I'm going to start doing that, and maybe I'll share my journal with you. Who knows? I don't know. Depends on, how I'm feeling at that particular point, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to the podcast. So let's get into today's word. So, guys, we are changing it up. I'm no longer going to be doing a quote. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is a word for the podcast. And the reason why is because I feel like a quote is just so broad, whereas a word, it's like, okay, this is what it is, and it's so identifying, and I just think that it would be a better idea. So we're going to be now doing a word for the podcast. So the daily word for today is going to be generate. So again, it's going to be generate. So I wrote down a very simple definition, and it is to bring into existence. Okay? That is what generate means. So now, in addition to that, I said, you know what? It would be a great idea for us or for me to be able to showcase some positive words that are related to that specific word. And we just basically, see how it goes. So I hope this is something that I'm going to keep a part of the podcast. Again, if it's something that you do enjoy, let me know in the comment section. I would definitely appreciate that. So I wrote it down a couple of synonyms for generate. So I have here achieve, create, accomplish, develop, found, bring to pass, give rise to, perform. And this is my favorite one of all. Favorite one, inspire. That is the core of where I'm at, is that I am trying to inspire others, inspire myself. Also, in addition to that, to being the best me I can be, and to be able to help people as much as I can. And again, as I've always mentioned in my podcast, is letting people know that they're not alone. Because I think a lot of times we feel like we don't have that tribe. So I just want to let you guys know, if you don't have that tribe, I'm your tribe. I'm a part of your tribe. And you are not alone in this journey in life. So if you ever need to lean on to me, if you ever need to just hit me up, hit me up. All my social media is going to be in the show notes and everything. And, I just don't want, I feel like sometimes if people had a friend, um, that life sometimes people don't have friends. So if people had a friend, that that journey in life will be so much easier. So guys, that is where I'm going to leave this podcast episode. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode. I know that I enjoyed it, talking to you guys and expressing how I feel. And we're good. We are good. And we're going to continue this life journey and continue to do the positive things. So, guys, stay blessed out there in those streets. Make sure that you treat others kindly, and God willing, I will talk to you in the next podcast. Thank you for listening to Reflection by Abia. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about today's episode and share the podcast with your friends and family. The link will be available in the show notes.